Insulate Britain have blocked a major road in West London. A temporary injunction was granted against the group earlier this week after protesters brought parts of London to a standstill. 14 people have also been arrested in Kent after another major artery road was obstructed in both directions earlier this morning. Greg Mackenzie is at the protest in West London. He joins us now. Greg, what's happening where you are?
Well, good morning. So Insulate Britain arrived here on the A40 in West London at 8 a.m. this morning. We were the first to break that news. Now, many of them have been removed. But if you look around, this is the A40. You'd never be able to walk along here in the middle of the road, in fact, given that this is one of the busiest roads in the capital, leading down to Heathrow Airport. Now, many of the protesters have been arrested. There were a few here, and a few here now are being spoken to by the police. Now, what you find is many of them have glued themselves to the ground, and the police are using some sort of solution to unglue them. And this guy here has glued his feet to the ground. Why have you done this?
I've done this because every single year in the UK, 8,000 pensioners die in their homes because they can't afford central heating. I've done this because millions of families in the UK can't afford their heating bills, and it's only getting worse as the heating prices go up. We're asking the government to insulate all the homes of the United Kingdom. Now, by doing that, obviously you're going to pull millions of people out of fuel poverty, but you're also going to, it's the most cost-effective way to reduce carbon emissions, and you would create hundreds of thousands of jobs. So what we're asking for the government is totally within their power, and it's a no-brainer. They should be doing it today.
People ain't happy, though, that you're doing this. Angry motorists this morning, I've seen them swearing at you. Some almost came into physical altercations. Police are here now having to patrol this and move you. Some will say a waste of police resources, they should be elsewhere. So what do you say to those people that say that you are causing disruptions to normal people trying to get to work?
We are very sympathetic for all of these people disrupted, but we have to tell them we've tried everything else. There was 10,000 people outside Parliament in August. Nobody's heard about it. There's been petitions to Parliament, letters to MP. It all gets ignored. It's only when you cause disruption that you get interviewed and go on the news. Like 100 people have had a bigger impact than 10,000 people just because we're causing disruption.
All right, thank you very much. Now, you did mention those injunctions earlier. Now, Transport for London were granted an injunction to prevent the protesters from carrying out such actions, and these protesters now will be liable for jail. They will be arrested and they will get their moment in court. But in terms of going forward, Insulate Britain say they will continue these actions until they are listened to.
Greg, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you. Greg Mackenzie at the protest in West London. Protests are also taking place across London, including at Dartford Crossing. Our reporter James Waterhouse is there. What's happening where you are, James?
Well, it's the now familiar scene, isn't it? The police have now arrived with that solution which dissolves glue in large syringes. It feels kind of well rehearsed on both sides. The protesters here, they had one blockage on another. They staged another blockage on a neighbouring roundabout, and then around half an hour later came here, hoping it would be a diversion. They laid themselves in the middle of the road, as you can see. Some arrests have quickly been made as people have been dragged to the side. The remaining few have glued themselves to the road, but that doesn't take away the anger that is felt by all of these drivers that are trapped on this bridge which cuts across the M25 motorway, one of the busiest motorways in the country, which connects to, and I don't know whether you can see it, the Dartford Crossing. This is the main connection, for those not aware, between Essex and Kent on the east side of London. At the moment, traffic is jamming a little bit at the end, but that's nothing out of the ordinary. It seems to be on this specific junction that disruption has been caused. Now, the Insulate Britain protesters here, their message has been well broadcast. They want all homes in the UK to be insulated by 2030. They say their issue is with the government as they call for action and not members of the public. Well, the members of the public trapped on this stretch of a junction will probably feel that they're pretty affected as well.
Thank you for that update, James. James Waterhouse at the Dartford Crossing. Let's catch up with all the weather news now, shall we?